Water in the darkness. A sleep story from orbit. Opening. The quiet before. July 16, 2013. 7:57 a.m. Eastern Time. 250 miles above the Pacific Ocean. The International Space Station glides through orbit. Silent. Graceful. A small constellation of metal and glass catching sunlight as it circles Earth every 90 minutes. Inside the Quest airlock, 2 astronauts prepare for their second spacewalk in 8 days. White spacesuits. Helmets on. Communications check. Radio check. Luca. Loud and clear. Chris Cassidy, American astronaut, Navy SEAL, veteran of 3 spacewalks, moves through the checklist with practiced ease. Beside him, Luca Parmitano, Italian test pilot, first Italian to walk in space, breathes slowly inside his helmet. This is only his second time outside. Only his second time stepping into the vast nothing. But he's calm, prepared, ready. The airlock begins to depressurize. Air venting into space. Pressure dropping. Silence deepening. And then the hatch opens. Darkness beyond. Sprinkled with stars. The curved edge of Earth glowing blue and white 250 miles below. They float out. Into the void. Into the gentle, patient darkness. The tasks ahead are routine. Cable work. Maintenance. Preparation for a new Russian module. 6 hours. Maybe 7. Then back inside. Dinner. Sleep. Another day in orbit. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing to worry about. Just another quiet morning. Working in the infinite dark. Suspended between Earth and everything. But something small is already beginning. Something unnoticed. Something that will transform this routine morning into one of the most dangerous moments in spacewalk history. And for Luca Parmitano, the next hour will become a study in calmness under impossible circumstances. In silence. In trust. In the strange peace that can exist even when water begins to fill your helmet in the vacuum of space. Let yourself drift with us now. Into orbit. Into the quiet. Into the story of water where water should never be. Chapter 1. The feeling of wet. 44 minutes into the spacewalk. Luca is working at the back of the station, installing cables. His movements are slow, methodical. In microgravity, everything must be deliberate. Then a sensation. Something wrong. Something on the back of his head. Wetness. Not much. Just a little. Like when you lean against something and don't realize it's damp until you pull away. He touches the back of his head through his helmet. Can't feel anything directly. But the sensation persists. Water. His first thought, the drink bag. A small pouch with about a liter of water. Attached inside the suit near his chest. A straw leading to his mouth. Maybe it's leaking. He mentions it over the radio. Calmly. Just information. Chris. I'm feeling a little water on the back of my head. Copy that. Mission Control responds. Can you take a look? Of course he can't. It's behind his head. Inside his helmet. Unreachable. He drinks from his water bag. Trying to empty it. If it's leaking, at least the leak will stop once the bag is dry. He continues working. The sensation doesn't go away. If anything, it's getting stronger. More water. Pooling. Moving with him as he moves. In microgravity, water doesn't drip. It doesn't flow. Collects. Forms globules. Clings to surfaces. To skin. To fabric. It's covering his ears now. Cold. Strange. This isn't right. Chapter 2. The growing concern. 1 hour and 9 minutes into the spacewalk. Houston. Luca says, voice still calm. I think the water is increasing. Cassidy, working a few meters away, turns to look at his crewmate. Luca, can you see any of the water? No. It's all behind my head. But I can feel it. It's more now. Mission Control confers. Ground team running through possibilities. Drink bag. Condensation. Sweat. Minor issues. Nothing critical. But then Luca moves his head. And the water moves with him. Into his eyes. Onto his nose. Affecting his vision. There is some in my eyes, he reports. And some in my nose. It's a lot of water. This changes everything. Lead spacewalk officer Karina Eversley's voice comes through. Professional. Calm. But with new urgency. Luca, we're going to terminate the EVA. Start heading back to the airlock. Chris, you're right behind him. No argument. No delay. In space, you don't second-guess the call to come inside. Luca begins his return. Hand over hand along the station's exterior. Following the path he took outward. But now moving in reverse. Back toward safety. Back toward air. Back toward the airlock. Except the water is still growing. Chapter 3. The physics of water in vacuum. Here's what makes this dangerous. On Earth, if water enters your nose or mouth, you cough. You turn your head. Gravity pulls the water down. Away from your airway. In microgravity, none of that works. Water doesn't fall. It adheres. Forms globules. Fills spaces. And if that space is your helmet, if it covers your nose and mouth, there's no coughing it out. No turning away from it. You could inhale it, aspirate it, drown in it, inside a spacesuit, in vacuum, 250 miles above Earth. The engineers who designed the suit understood this. They built systems to prevent it. Water separator, fan pump, drainage paths, multiple redundancies. But something has failed. Some filter clogged with contamination. Some pathway blocked. And now water from the suit's cooling system, about a gallon of it, is finding its way into places it was never meant to go. Into Luca's helmet. Into his breathing space. Into the small bubble of air that keeps him alive. And it's still increasing. Chapter 4. The Return. Luca moves along the station's exterior. Slowly. Carefully. He can't see clearly anymore. Water covering his eyes. He blinks. Tries to clear them. But the water doesn't move. Just redistributes. Forms new globules. His communications are degrading. Water in his ears now. Sounds becoming muffled. Distant. He can hear Chris behind him. Cassidy's voice calm. Encouraging. You're doing great, Luca. Keep coming. Almost there. But Luca can barely make out the words. The radio is failing. Water conducts electricity. Short circuits. His microphone may still be transmitting, but he can't hear the responses. He's effectively deaf now. And then he has to go vertical, to clear an antenna, to rewind his safety tether. In that moment, as he turns upside down, or what passes for upside down in microgravity, two things happen. The sun sets. The station moves into Earth's shadow. Darkness. And the water, no longer held in place by the orientation of his head, flows forward. Over his nose. Into his eyes. Completely. He can't see. Can't hear. Can't communicate. Just the feeling of his gloved hands. Finding handholds. Following the path from memory. Inside the helmet, water continues to accumulate. Maybe half a liter now. Maybe more. A fishbowl. Filling. Chapter 5. The airlock. Time loses meaning. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like seconds. But eventually, finally, Luca's hands find the airlock hatch. He pulls himself inside. Cassidy right behind him. The hatch closes. Repressurizing. Cassidy calls out. But Luca doesn't hear him. Water in his ears. Radio dead. He floats in the airlock. Helmet still on. Water still covering his face. All he can do is wait. Stay calm. Breathe through his nose. Small, controlled breaths. Don't panic. Don't thrash. Don't make it worse. The engineers designed the suit well. The breathing. Oxygen comes from a different system. Clean. Separate. Even with water in the helmet, he can still breathe. As long as he stays calm. As long as he doesn't inhale the water. As long as the repressurization completes before something else fails. He feels vibrations. The inner airlock hatch opening. Hands on his suit. The crew pulling him inside. Quickly. Efficiently. But he still can't remove the helmet. Not until pressure equalizes. Not until it's safe. So he waits. In darkness. In water. In silence. Trusting his crewmates. Trusting the systems. Trusting that in a few more seconds this will be over. Chapter 6. Breathing again. Karen Nyberg, NASA astronaut, flight engineer, works the helmet latches with practice speed. Easy, Luca. We've got you. The helmet comes off, tilts forward. Water pours out. Not a little. A lot. Between 1 and 1.5 liters. More than 3 pounds of water. Enough to fill a large bottle. All of it was inside his helmet, covering his face, in his ears, in his eyes, almost reaching his mouth. Luca gasps, not from panic, just from relief, from being able to see again, to hear again, to feel air on his face. You okay? Nyberg asks. He nods. Can't speak yet, but he's okay. Chris Cassidy floats nearby, still in his spacesuit. He removes his own helmet, looks at his crewmate. They lock eyes. No words needed. They both understand how close it was, how close Luca came to drowning. In space, in his helmet, while working outside the station. But he didn't. He stayed calm. He moved slowly. He trusted his training. And he made it back. 1 hour and 32 minutes. The second shortest spacewalk in ISS history. But it felt much longer. Chapter 7. The investigation. In the days that follow, engineers begin their work. The suit is examined, disassembled, analyzed. What they find: contamination. Inorganic materials, origin unknown. Blocking the water separator drum holes in the suit's portable life support system. The cooling system uses water to regulate temperature. That water is supposed to stay in its loop, separated by fans. Drained. Removed from the breathing space. But the blockage caused water to back up, to overflow, to enter the vent loop, and from there into the helmet. A failure mode nobody had anticipated, nobody had trained for, nobody thought possible. The investigation reveals something else, too. This same problem had occurred 1 week earlier, on July 9th, Luca's first spacewalk. After that EVA, crew found about half a liter of water in his helmet. But everyone, ground team, crew, engineers, assumed it was from the drink bag. A minor issue. Nothing to worry about. They were wrong. The suit had already started failing. But they misdiagnosed it. Didn't investigate further. Didn't stop the next spacewalk. And that misdiagnosis nearly killed him. Chapter 8. The Lessons of Silence. The investigation board releases 49 recommendations. Some technical. Some procedural, some about training, about communication, about questioning assumptions. One phrase appears repeatedly: normalization of deviance, the slow drift toward accepting things that shouldn't be normal. Small amounts of water in the helmet? Normal. Carbon dioxide alarms? Normal. Delays in troubleshooting? Normal. Until something that should trigger immediate action is treated as routine. And routine becomes dangerous. NASA promises to implement every recommendation, to never let this happen again. They develop new safety equipment, snorkels for helmets, absorption pads, better monitoring systems. They retrain crews, ground teams, everyone, and they halt all non-emergency spacewalks until the fixes are complete. 6 months, 8 months, however long it takes. Because Luca Parmitano almost drowned in space. And that's not acceptable. Chapter 9. The Return to the Darkness. November 15, 2019. 6 years after the incident, the airlock hatch opens again, and Luca Parmitano floats out, back into the void, back into the darkness. His first spacewalk since July 16, 2013. He'd returned to Earth after his initial mission. Came back to the station in 2019, this time as commander, the first Italian to command the ISS. And now, finally, he was going outside again. Different suit, different systems, different protocols, but the same darkness, the same stars, the same beautiful, terrible vacuum. He works for 6 hours, installing equipment, repairing the alpha magnetic spectrometer. No incidents, no water, just routine. The way it's supposed to be. When he returns inside, reporters ask, "How did it feel?" "Normal," he says. "Good." No hesitation. No fear. Just quiet confidence. Because this is what astronauts do. They go back. They don't let one incident, even a near-fatal one, define them. They face the darkness again, and again, and again, until it becomes once more routine. Chapter 10. The blog post. After his 2013 incident, Luca wrote about it publicly on his European Space Agency blog. His words are calm, measured, reflective. Space is a harsh, inhospitable frontier, and we are explorers, not colonizers. The skills of our engineers and the technology surrounding us make things appear simple when they are not, and perhaps we forget this sometimes. He doesn't blame anyone, doesn't express anger, just recognition of complexity, of how thin the margin for error is, of how fragile human life becomes when you step outside the protective shell. He describes the moment the water covered his nose. A really awful sensation that I make worse by my vain attempts to move the water by shaking my head. And the moment he lost all sight and hearing. I'm completely cut off. I try to move as little as possible to avoid moving the water inside my helmet. Calmness. Even in his description of nearly dying. Calmness. Test pilot training. Astronaut discipline. Years of preparation. But also something more. Something harder to name. Acceptance. Trust. The ability to stay present even when every instinct screams to panic. This is what saves lives in space. Not strength. Not intelligence. Peace. In the middle of crisis. Peace. Chapter 11. The physics of fear. Here's what scientists know about fear. It lives in the amygdala. Ancient brain structures. Fight or flight. Survival instinct. When you perceive danger, your heart rate spikes. Adrenaline floods your system. Blood redirects to major muscles. You breathe faster. Think faster. React. This works on Earth. When you can run. When you can fight. When physical action saves you. In space, it doesn't work. Panic in a spacesuit means increased oxygen consumption. Increased carbon dioxide production. Fogged visor. Clouded judgment. Panic means death. So astronauts train differently. They learn to recognize fear, acknowledge it, and then gently, firmly, set it aside. Not suppression. Not denial. Just postponement. I'll deal with this later. Right now, I have a job to do. Luca described this in interviews. The water was terrifying, but he couldn't afford to be terrified. So he focused on tasks. Hand over hand. One movement at a time. Stay on the path. Trust the training. Trust the crew. Trust that he'd make it back. And he did, because he stayed calm. In the darkness. In the water. In the silent, patient void. Chapter 12. Drifting toward sleep. Imagine floating now, as your eyes grow heavy. Not in danger. Not in crisis. Just floating. Gently. Peacefully. The station glides through orbit. 250 miles up. Moving at 17,000 miles per hour. But you don't feel the speed. You just feel suspension. Weightless. Supported by nothing. Supported by everything. The Earth turns below. Oceans catching sunlight. Clouds drifting across continents. Thunderstorms flickering with silent lightning. All of it peaceful from this height. Above stars. Billions of them. Sharp. Clear. Eternal. And around you the gentle hum of life support systems. Fans. Pumps. Oxygen flow. Temperature control. The same systems that failed Luca. But working now. Properly. Quietly. Keeping you safe. You float in your sleeping compartment. Sleeping bag tethered to the wall. Eyes closed. Breathing slowly. Outside the void. Inside warmth. Safety. Peace. The station moves from sunlight into shadow. Darkness falls. Not frightening. Just restful. Your breathing slows. Matches the rhythm of the ventilation. In. You're safe here. Suspended between Earth and stars. Held by physics. Held by engineering. Held by the collective work of thousands of humans who built this place. This small bubble of life. In the infinite dark. Epilogue. The water and the stars. The photograph remains. Luca Parmitano. Spacesuit wet inside. crew helping him remove his helmet, water pouring out into the station's interior, floating globules catching light. It's not dramatic, not cinematic, just documentary, just truth. This is what happens when systems fail, when the margins collapse, when routine becomes emergency. But also, this is what happens when training works, when crews respond, when human beings stay calm under impossible pressure. The water is gone now, cleaned up, the suit repaired, the systems improved. But the lesson remains. Space doesn't forgive mistakes, doesn't offer second chances, doesn't care about intentions. But humans take care of each other. Humans learn. Humans adapt. Humans go back. Even after nearly drowning. Even after water in the darkness. Even after silence and fear and the gentle, patient void. They go back. Because that's what explorers do. Luca Parmitano is still with the European Space Agency. Still an astronaut. Still ready to return to orbit. The water didn't stop him. The fear didn't stop him. The near-death didn't stop him. Because some callings are stronger than fear. Some dreams are worth the risk. And sometimes, floating in the darkness with water in your helmet, you discover something profound. You're more capable than you knew. More calm than you imagined. More trusting of the universe and your place in it. The water teaches you this. The darkness teaches you. The void, patient, infinite, indifferent, teaches you that you can survive things you never thought possible. That peace can exist even in crisis. That humans, for all our fragility, carry something unbreakable. Will, trust, calmness, and the quiet certainty that even in the darkest moments, even in the water, even in the void, we can find our way home. So rest now. Float gently. Let the darkness hold you. You are safe. You are supported. You are exactly where you need to be. The stars shine above. The earth turns below. And you, small, fragile, temporary, you drift in between. Breathing slowly, peacefully, trusting that when morning comes, you'll wake. That the systems will hold. That the water, if it comes, can be survived. Because you are stronger than you know. Calmer than you believe. Held by forces larger than fear. Sleep now. The universe is watching over you. The end. Rest well, explorer. The stars will still be there when you wake.